Confidence. It's the confidence.
Yeah, it is like a Baptist church, ain't it?
I don't see him. Okay.
Man, it's like a Baptist church.
We all took showers. I don't know what the deal is.
Notice who's on the back row.
Trouble.
Those are the troublemakers. Keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said when I walked in.
All right, y'all ready? I'd like to call this Whitfield County Board of Commissioners meeting to order for the 11th day of December 2023. Please silent or mute your cell phones. All that are able, please rise for our invocation by Commissioner Robbins, followed by our pledge.
Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we come to say thank you, recognize you for who you are. And most important, this time of year, this season, dear Heavenly Father, that people don't pay much attention to the fact that the baby Jesus was born in a manger, but yet he's the Christ of the cross. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask your blessings upon our county. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with us as we deliberate tonight. And may it be pleasing to you, dear Heavenly Father, and help us to continue to serve Whitfield County in their best interest. Encourage and guide us, forgive us or we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May the record reflect we have 4 commissioners present and our quorum requirements are met. The commissioners and the public were made aware of our agenda approximately 6 days ago. I only have one additional request, a Public Works water truck purchase. Are there any other adds or deletions of the agenda? Is there a motion to accept the agenda with the one addition?
So,
Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. There's just our regular consent agenda item related to purchases made at our last meeting in November. We do have quite a few minutes that were sent out also 6 days ago. There was 2 budget meetings, 1 special called SPLOS meeting, and then our regular November meeting. So 4 sets of minutes. Did anyone have any corrections or changes for those? Did not see any. Is there a motion to approve all 4 sets of minutes?
motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. We'll always start with our employee recognition for October. Ricky Pratt and his fine supervisor and the chief. They should be, yeah. Tell us a little bit about Ricky.
All right. Tonight, we have Ricky Pratt, one of our engineers. He'll be with the department 4 years coming up in March. He was, his name was sent in by his supervisor, and I have Captain Josh Key here tonight to introduce him. I do have one little thing about Ricky. One of his items he does, part-time, he drives a low boy hauling heavy equipment, and you'll like this one, Brian. 2 months ago or so, they had a call up on the mountain at the ridge. He pulled a 12-foot tall trailer, tandem axle to the top. Of course, I didn't know who it was, but they told me they pulled a trailer to the top of that mountain, and I was like, I'm going to kill somebody. And then they said it was Ricky, and then there it was. I said, well, hey, if anyone could do it, this man could. He's a very talented driver, so congratulations.
I'm not a real good speaker, but I got some notes here. Ricky always goes above and beyond to serve the citizens of Whitfield County. He is always willing to play a part in teaching the new generations of firefighters for our department in special operations trainings like ropes, confined space, and search and rescue calls. He has been participating in teaching our new driver operator classes here recently. We just had successfully 7 students pass that course. And going back to that trailer deal that he's talking about, Ricky was part of a team earlier this year for a search and rescue call on Rocky Face Ridge. His experience and knowledge helped the team overcome difficult terrain while dealing with high winds and rainy conditions to help find a lost person and bring them back to safety.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Hey, that's not required. We would never get any winners if we did that. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, each commissioner presents their own report or status for the month. I'll start with our SPLOS 2024, just an update on that. There's nothing on the agenda for tonight, but we do plan on asking the legislatures to put it on the ballot in 2024 for the May ballot. Our vote will be in January, so we can still adjust these projects. In the meantime, this comes from our Citizens Committee, who wrapped up last month, but we have to have our meetings in December, which we did last week, and then we have to wait 30 more days, and then we can get all the public comment, which we welcome, online or in person here on our SPLOS projects, and what can be adjusted, because it still can be made adjustments, of course, between now and our January meeting. A lot of people are saying, hey, let's get back to the basics. Let's focus on safety in our roads. And sure enough, if you look at what the committee came up with, 86%, if you see those four kind of main buckets of SPLOS projects, are related to roads, bridges, and public safety in general. So that's a huge percentage, and the vast majority of that is really in the roads and bridges, actually. And 14% recreation. We want to continue to make improvements there, but as I've mentioned, at least my personal opinion, we're closer to recognizing our vision than not. So we're getting near the end where we just need to do some upgrades at Edwards Park to help the facility and lighting there, and then finish the West Side Park where we can add a gym. Those are the kind of the last commitments that have been made over the years that we haven't met. And then one item that I'm really excited about is the Veterans Memorial. That is new, and hopefully we can put that at Rocky Face Ridge if this gets approved, and allow us to honor all of the veterans from Civil War all the way to Iraq and Afghanistan. So that would be great if that passes as well. Tonight we are having a budget hearing. We hope to hear from any citizens that have input on our budget. That was posted on our website a couple of weeks, maybe a week and a half ago, I think, 10 days ago. So we'll have comments tonight, and then our vote is not until the 21st. So we won't take any actions on the budget, but happy to get your feedback in the meantime. And then that's about 10 days from now. I guess that's a week from Wednesday, a week from Thursday will be our actual vote on the budget. Just some real high-level highlights. There's a lot of details on our website, but we're not planning on any property tax millage rate increase to support this budget. There's only one net new county employee. That's in our permits and inspections group. As you can imagine, with the construction, both commercial and residential, we're just trying to provide better service to citizens and to builders that are trying to get those permits and get those inspections done with the new workload there. And so that's paid for by those permit fees, actually. For the first time, we're going to consider ourselves fully staffed on first responders like our sheriff and our fire departments, where in the past, between turnover and having to recruit people, we would always be staffed at anywhere from 89 to 91%. So you see a jump in their salaries. Well, that's mainly because of we're now fully staffed and have fewer turnover. So I congratulate those departments on finding and keeping some great employees in both of those areas. Our healthcare costs obviously are up this year. We had a good year in 2022, but a bad year in 23 as far as our healthcare. We're self-insured, so those are actual costs, and we'll have to adjust for that for next year. As well as we increased our contributions to several nonprofits. I didn't list all of them, but the library, CSAS, and our Northwest Georgia Family Crisis Center are a couple of examples where we increased our contributions there. That's my report. We'll start with the commissioners. Commissioner Jones, any comments or information from you?
Well, just
Pull down your microphone, yeah.
Just one, we got a little more paving we're gonna do over on Houston Valley where the pavement had slicked, it had polished off and got a lot of wrecks going on
Slippery,
over there,
yeah.
so paving crew said they could get it done, so.
We're going to try and hit 29 miles. Maybe we'll be 29 miles. I don't know. Kent's saying yes. I'm saying I'm putting up my money where Kent's mouth is, so let's go. That'll be the most we've paved in a lot of years, 29 miles, and maybe we can hopefully beat that next year. How about you, Commissioner?
Don't have anything.
No comments? Commissioner Robbins?
Nothing this month.
All right. Go to our county administrator, Mr. Civic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the commission, as well as members of the public who are here watching at home on the internet. Three topics I wanted to report on this month. The first is the Appalachia Broadband Technical Assistance Grant. As you all know, broadband internet access is much as vital a utility as electricity was 100 years ago. Unfortunately, our community, Whitfield County, we have areas that do not have access to broadband internet, and it's a drag on the economy. It's a drag on education. It's something that's no longer a luxury but a necessity. So I just wanted to announce that we are pursuing funds to fund that through the federal government, but we're also partnering with our friends at Dalton Utilities. For those of you who may not know, Dalton Utilities just built a sewer extension north on Cleveland Highway, and in doing that, they were very proactive. They built that sewer line with the ability to string wire for broadband access through that, and we're going to be meeting with them to see what we can do together to enable a greater access to broadband internet, particularly through stringing the wire, and that should make us a more attractive recipient for monies from the federal government. So we're very hopeful about that, and like a lot of the things that we do here, we pursue these monies because it lessens the burden on local taxpayers. The second thing I wanted to discuss with the Senior Center last week, I met with Senior Center Director Mary Hammontree and Activities Director Julie Dyer. For those of you who've been to the Senior Center, I know Commissioner Robbins goes there rather regularly, and I know his wife is in the dance club.
Barely old enough.
But barely old enough yet. He has a special exemption. He's a junior member, but I know his wife dances over there as well. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to not only promote the activities that are going on now, but new activities for 2024. The Silver Sneakers Aerobics, they have cardio to take care of your physical health, and they have yoga for your mental health. The arts and crafts activities are still there. One of the things that we're looking at is perhaps showcasing some of our seniors and their abilities through the North Georgia Regional Fair. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and this individual did not want her name mentioned, but she was a local person who made jewelry as a hobby. She passed away recently, and Mary Hammontree at the Senior Center received a call from the lawyer probating the estate. And this individual who was familiar with the Senior Center wanted the Senior Center to have all of her jewelry making equipment. So as Mary told me last week, she was expecting to go over there and maybe get a cardboard box full of things. But the truth of it was it took 2 van loads and Mary's car to bring that over to the Senior Center. So needless to say, we will be doing a lot of jewelry making at the Senior Center for our senior citizens. And it's good not just because jewelry is beautiful, but also the tactile use of the fingers, which is also very important. The other thing that we talked about was senior citizens are some of our best citizens. They have the highest voting rates. So one of the things we're going to be planning for next year is to take the senior citizens on tours of city and county facilities so that they have a better firsthand view of their government, so that they know about the services that we provide to make them even better citizens as well. And we talked also about maybe field trips up to Chattanooga to see the aquarium, and they have a wonderful Medal of Honor museum up there as well. The third thing I want to discuss is the RAISE grants. RAISE is an acronym that stands for Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. That is also through the U.S. government. And essentially what it funds is surface transportation infrastructure, which would involve roads, bridges, sidewalks, things of that nature. But Whitfield County has a fantastic grants team, certainly the best team here in the county, and I would even venture to say the best in Northwest Georgia. But we believe in being good partners with our municipal governments. Contrary to what some people may say, all of our municipalities are part of Whitfield County. They are not separate entities. They're part of the county, so what's good for them is good for the county as well. So we're going to be meeting with officials from Varnell, Tunnel Hill, Cohutta, public school districts, the Thrive Regional Partnership, which most of you don't know, and some of the staff does, but the public doesn't know. Thrive Regional Partnership is a multi-state transportation planning organization that Whitfield County is a member of, and I know Jake Bearden is very much involved in that. That covers southeast Tennessee, northwest Georgia, and northeast Alabama. So we're going to be looking at transportation projects to see what we can best do for this community, because even though we have great staff, we're humble enough to know that we don't know everything about every corner of this county, which is why we're reaching out to find out what's going on. And that's the way effective governments work, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready for our finance with our CFO, Debbie Godfrey.
So let's talk about October financial statements. Our year-to-date for sales tax, we've collected 12.7 million. We've collected 4.5 million in vehicle tax. Our total year-to-date revenue is 34 million, and our year-to-date expenses are 44.8 million. As I said, our total revenue for this year is 33.9 million. Through October, we had projected 29.4 million, which over last year, last year's actual was, at this same period, was 29.6 million. For expenditures, we have a total for year-to-date of 44.8 million, which we had projected expenditures through October to be 44.5 million, so very close. And that's compared to last year's at 41.6 million. Versus budget, our year-to-date revenue is $4.5 million greater than budgeted, and our expenditures are $351,000 over budget, which gives us a surplus of $4.1 million.
What was that number? That's a big number.
That is a big number.
But we're going to eat into that a little bit tonight with
We
some
are.
budget amendments. So we don't get to
We
keep
are.
all that, but we're going to take care of all of our people and our budgets and get them all trued up, so that's good.
Our fund balance actual as of 10/31 is 21.9 million, but projected at the end of the year with collections from our property taxes would be 36 million, assuming that everything stays the same with revenue and expenditures. And then for SPLOST, we've actually received through October 69 million. We have projected expenditures through October of 42.3 million. So SPLOST is doing
And this
well.
is just the county's portion of the entire SPLOS, not, or is this the counties and the
No,
cities combined?
That's the city and the
Counties
county.
combined.
Mhm.
So this is still towards the 64 million was the estimate for countywide. 66. Okay, got
Yes.
it. We're just a little bit over, but we got time to go, so that's good. Any questions for our finance team? Motion to approve the financials for October. Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. 2 months left to go as far as reporting. We will have a budget hearing. You're welcome to speak now about the budget or any item else that's on the agenda for tonight, but we will have a separate public hearing if anyone would like to give us feedback on the budget. But right now, we'll take any agenda item as well. Any public comments on the agenda items? All right, I'll move into the public hearing. I will announce it open for our 2024 proposed budget. Our final adoption, again, is a week from Thursday on the 21st, right here at the same time. I gave a quick overview of it. There's a lot more details on there, but happy to hear any comments if anyone has a chance to review our budget, or if the commissioners have had second thoughts on it, or new thoughts, additional thoughts, we can discuss it as well if we want to. Any feedback on the budget? Yes, come forward. We know you, but say your name and address for the record, please.
I will. I'm Catherine Sellers. I live at 506 Fairview in Dalton.
Pull the microphone down just a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
My name again? Catherine Sellers, 506 Fairview in Dalton.
Thank you.
I'd like to, first of all, thank you because last year you increased the budget for the library so that now we are very close to being away from the bottom of the stack in the state of Georgia. We don't have the state figures yet, but we know that we're not fifth from the bottom anymore, and we're so grateful. We are almost up to full staffing, except we have not been able to do the technology lab in the basement. As you recall, about 5 years ago, mostly from county money, we built this wonderful technology lab, and we have about 80 computers in the library. But we have not been able to open again because of our budget shortfall. I know that you have increased the budget this year some, but if we had the amount that we requested, the 100,000, we could hire the people to do the downstairs technology lab. And that would be for workforce education, for the public, for all kinds of computer programs, for any kinds of things where that technology lab would be valuable. I just wanted to see if there was any leeway in the budget and for your reconsideration of the amount that you've given us. But thank you again for what you did last year.
Appreciate it. Commissioner Robbins, you did fight for that during our budget hearings. I can assure you he did.
We're grateful.
Yeah. Any other public comments related to the budget?
Clyde McDaniel, coroner for Whitfield County, Forester Road cut. I was just kind of curious if y'all could give me some insight. I found out from Ms. Godfrey earlier. I asked for case fee increases, which haven't been increased since 2007 when the state mandated that. All the other public safety departments have got increases everywhere from 17.15% for 911 up to fire department and sheriff's office got 21.5% raises all since 2017. Even as Mr. Thomas said in the August meeting, that the average household for inflation is $7,000 per year for this county. I think Ms. Godfrey, what she figured up was total for our budget would be what, 14,000? Had we done that, I think, roughly, for the whole department? Just kind of curious of an answer of why we can't get that.
Well, we did have to cut, I think, 11 or 12 million by the time we got through from all the different departments that came in. I understand yours is fairly small, so we didn't cut it, but we just didn't do the increase. I think the other reason was, in 5 months, we're going to have an election, and we didn't really want to get involved. There were other departments that asked for, I would consider this a supplement. It's similar to a supplement, elected officials that had asked for that. And we were hesitant to do that with, if they were up for election in 5 months. We didn't want that to be something that somebody argued about. So, everybody knows what it is, and it is what it is, but we can revisit it at that point, but we didn't want to get involved at this point.
Well, this doesn't just affect me. I've got 4 other people that work for me that I have to go to and tell them they're not getting raises when other county employees are getting raises. That's hard to do.
As I recall, that was the biggest argument, was that there's an election in 5 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you were appointed, but, whoever wins, and then we can, address that with for the next 4 years. We don't have to wait that long to get another increase, that's for sure.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Any other public comments on the budget? All right, I will close the budget hearing. Move on to our regular agenda. The first one is the budget amendments that I mentioned earlier. Will impact our surplus, but we're still going to have a nice, healthy surplus, but we do need to take some of that to true up some of these other accounts before the end of the year. A very minor one related to the food bank for $2,503. Also our revenue from the opioid. We continue to get settlements for that. So we're just truing up between the expenditures and the revenue that has come in both this year and last year to true up that fund. So we've opened the addiction center here right across the parking lot. Had great comments on that. So that's where most of this money has gone to so far. Again, this is all coming from drug companies and distributors as well. And the big one is the medical and the healthcare, pharmaceutical amounts. That's a separate account, and that's what I mentioned was quite higher this year compared to last year. So we are adjusting the '24 budget, but we need to true up for this year, which will be $1.18 million in the general fund and the rest in the special tax districts. Are there questions related to these budget amendments before we approve these or discuss them? Is there a motion to approve these three budget amendments for December? Motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. Every year, of course, we have new beverage license applications, but the renewals for the people that already have them are required. We have to make sure that they can continue to pass their background check. Nothing happened in the interim period since we granted their license. So this is the approval to go through that renewal process and perform all the background checks, and assuming they pass, we would accept their fees for 2024. Motion to approve the renewals based on the background checks and the payments. Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins, Jones, sorry. I wouldn't dare put that on you. Any further discussion?
I talk a little lower.
Oh, thank you. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, our judicial, we won an award, $3,851 to hire a full-time investigator in our district attorney's office. This will help with the backlog. They continue to make progress and clear those from the last 2 years, but this will fund it starting in January for the personnel cost. Is there a motion to approve the state ARPA grant for the judicial from the Judicial Commission?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. Yeah, we like winning those grants, whether they're small or big. We'll take them. A couple items from the Sheriff's Office. The first one, we accepted a grant for this last month, but we have to go out and get the bids and accept the proposals for the HVAC, the heating and cooling replacements. So we got one that basically matches the grant, $99,457. It's done by Train. They're the manufacturer, so they're allowed to be a sole purchaser. No one else would bid on it, unfortunately. Is there a motion to approve this bid against the grant from last month for the sheriffs? Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say
I
aye.
have
Yeah. Any opposed, nay?
That's gonna solve the problem that we have at,
One very minor portion. There'll be a lot more. The rest of them are functioning, but there's SPOS money, if it passes, to replace the rest of the units that are 20+ years old. So this just is getting
so we've
started.
identified the others that need to be
Yeah,
replaced.
some been replaced, some haven't.
The
some-
rest of them.
Which is basically almost all of them are 20+ years old. Yeah, I've got
We haven't solved the problem completely.
No, this is just it's just the very beginning.
And do we know what to anticipate there?
They gave us a quote.
I think so. Does Captain Lynch want to come up? Why don't you give us a brief overview of the project?
There's a lot of them.
So I just think we ought to be open about what else,
Yeah.
other,
Yeah, this will not solve the entire problem, but
No, this is, so we had some requests, let's try to find a way to use these funds as well as we can, try to find other alternative means, other than the county taking on all this burden. We were able to locate a grant through Georgia Southern. Actually, it's a federal grant that Georgia Southern employees are basically administrating.
Nice.
And so, we, because of our jail population, are able to get up to $100,000, so we were able to replace 7 of the 2002 units. So, we've got, I would say, about 25 left that were manufactured in 2002. That's a guess. I'd have to look at the actual numbers.
25 units.
Yeah, left. We've replaced some of them over time, some of them have failed, and they've already been replaced. But the SPOS proposal that we have should take care of the rest of it.
if it passes, that'll take care of the rest of them.
Yeah. So this is for
Or
replacement of about 7
Maybe
units.
20 years.
I don't think they last 20 years anymore, but whatever the life is, 10+ years
I've been
is the
told
warranty.
I've been told the original units were 15-year units
And we got
from
20
Train.
21 years out of them
Yeah.
or more, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That did pass on a 3-0 vote. The second portion for the sheriff's office are some vehicles. We've got a new schedule for this year that was created. The goal for, it varies, but at least 150,000 miles, we need to start replacing vehicles so we don't get so far behind where we have 200,000-300,000 miles on a vehicle and they become unsafe or not reliable. So this request is for 17 Dodge Durangos, those are pursuit, and then one Silverado pickup truck, which is mainly for, I think, the trash pickup and the inmates.
You slipped, you missed one,
Did I miss one?
the 16. Motorola.
No, I hadn't gotten to that yet.
On here it is. Now, what's, I'm looking at.
16, I'm on 15B.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the procurement policy.
I know.
I'm sorry.
You're excited about that, I understand.
It's really exciting.
We'll start with the excitement on the vehicles purchase. Yeah, we will get to that though, for sure. So the total for the 17 plus one pickup comes to approximately $807,114 on our latest quote. Commissioner Jones was talking about something we uncovered in our procurement policy, which hopefully will help us continue to save money, maybe save additional money off of these vehicles, and we'll cover that in just a second. But this is the approval for that amount towards using the 2020 SPLOST funds, which our finance director or CFO has assured us we have that money in there, as you saw earlier.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Jones to approve 18 total vehicles for $807,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on to 3-0 vote. All right, this is a Motorola review. We've been working on this for a year. There's David. Hey, David Metcalf, yeah. So he has taught me a lot about Motorola towers and radios. Maybe I've taught him a little bit about negotiation. I doubt it, but I tried. But it has been successful. Originally, they wanted $270,000 a year more to renew our radio towers and equipment. And we have worked with the Tennessee group to be part of their network, which we already had a relationship and some technology, but they finally approved us. We're going to do a 6 month because they're on a different physical year calendar, not on calendar year like we are. So this will get us through from January through their physical year, which starts July 1st, and then we'll do a full year agreement at that point. But it's a pretty good savings off of that of $120,000 a year, even off of 1 year, maybe more savings off of multi-year. But first thing we need to do is just approve $91,568 for the next 6 months to get to the Tennessee physical year, where we can join their network officially. Is there a motion to approve Motorola contract renewal?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. And that will go against just our general fund as we pay our maintenance bills. So this is our purchasing policy, not the most exciting thing, but it was brought to our attention, and I think this will be a good change. The state has contracts for all things you can imagine, from toilet paper to vehicles, light bulbs, everything you can imagine. The state negotiates with their purchasing power, what they call the GSA department, and we can take advantage of that as either a county or the cities, I think, can also purchase off of that. But for some reason, our local policy prevented any rolling vehicles, or rolling stock as they're called, from being purchased on the state contract. Local dealers have to become certified or fill out some paperwork if they want to participate, which I encourage them to do that. So we can still buy local. It'll just be at the state pricing. But the local dealers have to file that paperwork and become part of that network, which we encourage them to do. So our proposal is, working with our county attorney, is to remove those 3 words, except rolling stock, so we can purchase everything else, which we already do purchase quite a bit through the state contracts. Now we can do vehicles if we don't have a better bid from some other source. Is there a motion to adjust our purchasing policy to allow for future vehicle purchases?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. Our fire department got a couple items there. So this is items we want to lock in the pricing for '23, will actually be purchased in 2024 on the new budget that we just mentioned earlier. But we need to lock in the price for the per shirt and per pants for our safety equipment for $78,000. I believe this was the only vendor, no, there's a couple of ones that I think bidded on this, but Sourcewell and the Municipal Emergency Services was the best. Correct. Is there a motion to approve $78,000 for uniform shirts and pants from Municipal Emergency Services? Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. The next item is some computer, is this computer software? No, this is the bathroom, I'm sorry, bathrooms. I was trying to see what this was. So, yeah, so we have money on our 2020 SPLOST to continue. We've already done some of the bathrooms. Again, these are original from the 1900s, I believe, most of these. Green and mauve, even from the 70s possibly, this couple that I've seen. Of course, they don't have the latest water and lighting, and some of them have leaks, as a matter of fact. So this is to continue stations 2 through 6, the remodels, for an average of $121,000 per station. All our men and women use these facilities. They spend the night there, so just trying to keep them up to date and safe and clean. Is there a motion to approve $607,000 total for bathroom stations 2 through 6 on the 2020 SPLOST? Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion?
Will that take care of where do we stand in regards, we have more than 6 stations, so where do we stand in regards to the rest?
I know 13 and 12 are new. I don't know about the middle.
11 and 12 are the newer.
11
We'll
and 12.
still need to do, which we've actually put it in for the 24 SPLOST, stations 7, 8, 9, and 10 only have 1 bathroom in it. What we're trying to do is get 2 facilities in every one of them. So that would be one of our next items in that next SPLOST.
Yeah, the 2024 SPLOST passes. That'll be the balance of them. So continue to make progress on them.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Just haven't voted. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. Now we get to the computer software. So we have 4 or 5 different programs today that we already use and pay maintenance on and support those type of things. But now we can go to a single solution, consolidate those down, and move to a cloud. You might recall we moved the courthouse to a cloud-based system for its records and retention. This is kind of a similar concept for everything we have to keep track of for training and certifications with the fire department. This again is on the 2024 budget, but we want to go ahead and get the purchase order to them now before the maintenance expires on these other individual programs. Motion to approve $49,000 on the 2024 fire budget for a cloud-based software.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. It's time to renew again for 2024, getting ready for next year, our court-appointed juvenile attorneys. You can see there's 4 of them. Let's see, one of them does additional services. That's why you see a different price there for Matthew Thames, letter D. But the rest of them are the part-time guardian and defense attorneys. That is their, been approved by a county attorney? Yeah.
No issues
I think it's the same amount as last year.
before?
Same as it's been for a long time.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. No increase, just approving it for the next fiscal year.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. Our magistrate court, again, we uncovered, there's 2 options to pay a magistrate judge, not the chief, but the individual magistrates underneath the chief. You can pay them 90% of the chief's salary, or you can pay them $56,600. But you're supposed to pay whichever is less. We have just been straight paying the 90%. Obviously, we don't want to change any judge's pay, so nobody's pay will be impacted by this. But if if a new person gets elected, somebody doesn't want to run and gets replaced, the new salary would be in line with state guidelines, which is to pay the less of the two. We can still do the math and figure that out, but right now we're basically out of compliance with what ACCG and the state recommends, is using both and picking whichever is less. Again, we obviously going to grandfather in all the current judges. If they get reelected, again, they're already grandfathered in. It's only for new judges as they come onto the payroll. Any questions about that? We can pull in our HR or legal team if you have questions about that. Is there a motion to update our policy on magistrate court base pay? Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. This is an item during our budget process. We also found that there has been a lot of contracts issued for $56 a square foot. When people come in, they have to tell us what the amount is to get their building permit. And then when we do the math versus the investment, we're seeing dollar amounts in $45, $58, $56, well below what anybody can really build a house for. So it's not fair to the builders that come in and are candid and open with how much they're spending, or a citizen, how much they're spending on a new home. We're not talking about remodels or anything like that. We're talking about new homes. We're not talking about multifamily. We're talking about standalone residential homes. If you can build it for $56, you need to call me, because I'll buy all the houses at $56. One for me and all of them that you can build at $56, because nobody can build a home in Georgia for $56 a square foot, I don't believe. So the proposal from staff was to adjust that to more of a national average. The recommendation was 12% below the national average, which is $145. The cost, based on the size of the home, would still be exactly the same, but you couldn't just tell us it was $56 or $60 a square foot. I'm not crazy about the $145 amount, because I think Georgia is even less than 12% of the national average, because you got states like, California and New York and Chicago, all that mixed in with that national average. So I wouldn't mind it coming down, but open to what you guys feel. But I don't think anyone can build a house for $56 or $45. We've got a list, and there was 28 permits that were below $100 just in the last month. So we're not having to go back, very far. And John, you know more about it than I do, but I don't think you can build a house.
I'd like Mike to elaborate on
Okay.
this.
Sure.
There's some concerns with,
like Mr. just mentioned, the state average, I base $145 based off of 86% or 88% of the national average. We had over 75% of the permits in the last 2 months was actually well under $100 per square foot. So that's way under the national average. We would like to just get this to a straight figure to where it's fair for everybody coming in. The actual fees have not been changed in several years, 10 to 12, 15 years.
Yeah, I can't think of anything in 10 years that hadn't gone up, but our
But
fees have
the
been
way it
exactly
was
the
set
same.
up is you set the fee, and then the cost of inflation over the years goes up, so the actual permit fee would actually go up accordingly. Well, what has happened is people has figured out, well, I can claim that I'm building this house for less and still get the permit for the same fee I was getting 10 years ago. So, we just want to make it fair above board to everybody, whatever rate y'all want to use, 145 to whatever. That way it's just fair to everybody that comes in, every applicant that comes in, it'd be a fair price.
Do you think there's any way somebody, even if they had their brother-in-laws helping them, or they bought the
No,
lumber
I
a
mean,
year
just-
ago or
just
2 years
material-
ago, can you build a house for $100 a
Just
square foot and
material
it stand?
package, framing packages,
Electrical,
labor,
plumbing.
electrical, plumbing, just the materials themselves you're probably, if you were a real penny pincher, you might get the material $70, $80 a foot. You know, by the time it's all said and done, you know, even if they want to claim they want to do the painting, the flooring themselves, they still have to buy the materials.
Right.
And just the materials alone, they're lower now than they were during COVID. But it's still, there's no way they can do it for some of these 23 and 34, $50 a square foot.
Crazy.
There's no way.
We know they're not telling the truth there.
So how much of an increase average would you say that would be per permit as far as?
Depending on the square footage of the house, and depending on what they claimed, some of them is, I've got a chart here. Depending on what they claimed their cost was, it can be anywhere from $50 to $150, $200 per permit. You know, somebody that's come in and claimed that they can build it for $120, $130 a foot, which is, you know, pretty close to right, then their permit may not change but $50 or $60. But somebody's come in and claimed that they can build their house for $23 a foot. Yes, it's gonna be quite a bit higher. And at, just for your information, at the $145 a square foot, we are basically in line with all the surrounding counties. We're actually lower than Gordon County and Walker County, and pretty much in line with what Catoosa, Murray, and City of Fort Oak would be charging for the same square footage house.
And just to be clear, if your house is $100,000, that's what you're gonna build it for. If the fee's gonna be exactly the same, but you can't tell us that's gonna be a 2,000 square foot home, and we're just not gonna buy it. But if it's $100,000 you're investing, the fees will be exactly the same, but we're just gonna check your square footage, and you better
Yeah,
have,
it's just something that's
you better
verifiable.
have a 1,000 square foot home if it's
You
gonna
know,
be
the way it is now, we
$100,000.
have no way of verifying what the actual cost of the house is, but if we set a fee per square foot, when the applicant comes in, if they fudge on the square footage, that's something we can actually go out in the field and verify. Where, you know, now we have no basis to say, no, they can't build the house for $23 a foot, even though we know they can't.
Yeah, or even 50. That's right.
And the proposal is 145 per foot,
That's
correct?
based off of 88% of the national average, you know.
And you don't have a Georgia average.
No. And that, well, that's basically what's in line with what all the other counties are basing theirs off of, so.
We ought to on this,
Yeah, we haven't heard it, so, yeah.
because, you know, we're just.
Any other questions?
Nobody's really seen this until
Right.
we put it on the website.
Yeah,
so.
we don't have to vote tonight, but we can. Any other comments before we bring up?
Not for now.
We may, after we hear from them.
Yeah, come on up.
I'm Octavio Perez, resident of Whitfield County, live in the city. I'm not a builder, but I have talked to a lot of builders, being a realtor. And $145 is high. That's more the average of the selling price. And it's a big difference between the building price and the selling price. John probably,
agree.
as a realtor, probably can testify to that. And I don't know all the other counties, what are they doing? But I think we represent Whitfield County. I don't care what Catoosa County or Gordon County is doing. $100 a foot is probably more in line than the $145. I hear a comment that they're trying to keep the builders honest. That's a task that is very difficult for anybody to keep anybody honest. If they tell you they're gonna build a 1,000 square feet house, I think the building inspector, when they go to measure the foundation, they can find out. If the foundation is for the 2,000 square feet, there should be a penalty for it.
Well, we have the plans too, so we do know the
I
square
mean,
footage.
yeah.
Even before they start doing the foundation, it's just a matter of, is 23 or 56, is that even
Yeah.
reasonable? I don't
But,
see that's reasonable.
And then again, if for some reason they finish a house that they say that they were gonna build for 2,000 square feet and the house is 4,000, you just don't give them a final.
CO, yeah.
I mean, at that point, they will have to pay the real figure. But the 145 is high
I thought it was.
for the builder.
I kind of agree with you.
And
Good. Thanks for your input.
Yep, I agree with you.
thank you.
Y'all want to wait, or do you have a better figure in mind?
I've heard $100, and I think that would be more applicable in our situation for our county. And 145, I do agree that if that's a national average, and then obviously
Got other
that's
states and other-
statistical, and if you add Ohio and California and places, New York, obviously that's gonna thwart the average, but $100 seems very, and
Economical,
as
yeah.
Mr. Perez just said, that seems very applicable for for our area, when it really probably is gonna cost more than that, but,
In some
you know,
cases, for
but
sure.
100 to start
Little
with,
low,
$100.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't mind being a little bit low.
Right.
I don't want somebody
As
just
far as
taking us
the-
for a ride, you know, at $20 a square foot.
Right.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, my 2 cents would be $100.
You have a better number or a different number?
Well, when we start, where the building inspector's office starts trying to enforce penalties, that's gonna be tough on y'all, Mike. So we need to be sure when they come for the permit that they understand how it's gonna work from now on, right? Because be ready. And I think Octavio Perez, he's been a realtor years, and you feel like that 100 is fair, and I do, if y'all do, and, that's where I'm with it. I'm just,
I just don't want you to confuse the selling.
No, definitely.
sure.
Right. Hopefully there's, yeah, they may gotta make their profit. I don't mind them making a profit. I just don't want them lying to us.
Well, get ready. Because when penalties are enforced,
Well,
that's.
it's not really a penalty. I
know it's not a penalty, but
just a new
be
fee.
ready, and
Higher
we'll just
fees.
have to be ready for it.
Yep.
And say, well, you should have.
Mr. Civic, do you have any comment about that, especially as it deals with increase here?
The only thing I would say is that a lot of times people misunderstand the purpose of these types of fees. They're not supposed to be exact. They're basically supposed to pay for the service that these specific services
That's right.
that these builders are using, so that cost is not something that's borne by the public at large.
That's right.
So if you're a builder and you're conducting business, we have people go out there and inspecting, they should pay for that service, not the average citizen.
That's right.
Yeah, that's poor choice of words on my part to call it a penalty, I guess.
It's just a fee. Yeah, they're calculating a fee.
Yeah, and Mike said he would see to it that they understand it's gonna be checked at some point. And there could be
We're going out there anyway,
additional fees if you don't,
if you don't follow. Yeah.
right.
And Mr. Civic will take some brunt of that kind of errors, you know.
I get calls,
That's right. I think
Well, you don't.
Yeah.
we need a
Right,
motion.
I get a few calls.
If we need a motion, I would make a motion of $100.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins to change the minimum amount to $100 per square foot.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. I guess if somebody wants to bring their receipts in and can show they can build it, we can reconsider it, right? Bring your receipts. I've got a couple of annexations from the town of Cohutta. There was no land use objections found for this. You can see the parcel number there off of Tag Road. Motion to approve annexation into Cohutta.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. got the rezoning, 3 rezones for this month. They were all approved 4-0 by the Planning and Zoning, and I did not see any public comment or concerns expressed for these 3. One's a rezone from C2 to C1, R5 to R6, and R5 to GA. You guys, we've had to take them as a group, or any concerns?
Motion, take them all as presented.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jones to approve them all as presented from the Planning and Zoning Board. Is there a second?
I'd like to discuss, Ms. Clark, is this what you wanted, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
C1A, I guess it is technically, yeah.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. This is our one additional agenda item that we added. We've gotten a request from our Public Works, 2,000-gallon water truck spray down. And there was the diesel and gas options, but this was the preferred F750 for $144,700. It's a bit, 2,000 gallons of water weighs what, 16,000 pounds or something? 8. So it's a 16,000-pound truck. That's a big one. That is in our 2023 capital budget. Confirmed that earlier, and we will true up the capital for the end of the year as well. So motion to approve the purchase of this Ford truck for $144,700.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, our final public comment, the third one. We happy to have any feedback on other items that weren't on the agenda or anything that's on your mind. Any public comments? Going once. Any public comments? Going twice. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Commissioner Jones for adjourn.
Okay.